should be live on socials.
Yep.
All right, cool. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Honor the Land outside of the beautiful Progressive Field on the home opening day. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. Zay, it is cold in downtown Cleveland, but we are braving the elements to give you guys the latest on the Cleveland Browns, everything going on in the NFL draft. Travis Hunter, Jalen Milroe. You name a prospect, we're probably going to wind up talking about him today, but we are outside Progressive Field. It is opening day, and it was snowing this morning, Zay. How are you feeling? Are you ready for today?
You know, it wouldn't be that bad if the clouds would just stay away.
Yeah.
But as soon as the clouds go away and that wind starts hitting, oh, man, it feels just like a typical Cleveland day. But I'm feeling good, man. How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm excited. Shout out to Thirsty Parrot for having us down here. This has been a great morning so far. Very excited to talk the show. We'll talk guards in a little bit here, but we have to kick off today because in the last, 48, 73 days, basically, there has just been so many different rumors flying around with the Cleveland Browns. It's been absurd. The one I want to start with, I'm sure everybody's waiting for us to talk about Travis. We're going to talk about Travis Hunter.
Obviously.
The one I want to start with, though, is Jalen Milroe. What is going on right now? There's a report that came out yesterday that said, I believe it was the Cleveland Browns and maybe it was the Saints or the Raiders, somebody also in the market for a quarterback, that were very impressed by Jalen Milroe's workout. I know he also met with the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you make of that?
I think people are bored.
Okay.
I just think it's that time where it's like draft is right around the corner and people just need any and everything to talk about other than the obvious 1 and 2 picks. And Jalen Milroe just so happens to be topic of the discussion. So I'm not going to take too much of it. Obviously, we'll get into a little bit more of that surrounding Cleveland specific. But I just think we're in that time frame where it's just like people need something to talk about.
Yeah, and I think everybody's getting bored of the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah.
Discourse or discussion. What's really interesting, though, I think the boredom has driven everybody to think of every possible prospect at number 2 or trading
back
down within the top 6 or 7. Travis Hunter, it's up. The narrative has completely shifted from Abdul Carter or Shedeur Sanders and not even thinking about the unicorn wide receiver DB hybrid to everybody saying, and I don't blame him, Travis Hunter needs to be the number 2 overall pick. Those Colorado or Pro Day, I guess, one day with Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, even though they both went out to dinner with the Browns the night before, I believe, was an eye-opening experience for a lot of fans. I don't think everybody was ready to see the discourse on Travis Hunter go that direction, but here we are, and I would venture to guess the majority of Browns fans right now want Travis Hunter with the number 2 overall pick.
I just think people are at this point now where it seems as if everybody jumped off the Shedeur Sanders hype train. I don't know why. Again, I think it's that boredom feel that kicks in and something new, something fresh. But before I hopped on the Shedeur Sanders train, I was all in on Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
I was like, you better take Travis. He's the best player in the draft. You don't pass on a talent like that. So whether the Browns go Shedeur or Travis Hunter, as long as, I really don't care. I don't think you can miss with either one. So it's pretty interesting to see the Travis hype pick up in Cleveland. I can only imagine how many jerseys that we would see opening day if Travis Hunter did so happen to be our guy. But I think the big question is, would he be the receiver that Andrew Berry, called him out to be, or would he be, the cornerback that everyone else saw him to be?
I think he'd be both. There was an interview yesterday. I can't remember who asked, but somebody asked Travis Hunter, is there a world where you play all the snaps in an NFL game, DB, receiver? And without hesitation, yes. This guy is convinced that he can play both ways every snap when asked. He just needs the opportunity, and that's what he said. And I think Cleveland would give him the opportunity. I don't know what it would look like in the DB world. I think he would play the majority of wide receiver snaps. I don't really think that's an issue. I don't think there's a debate about that. But it seems like he is, and who are any of us to judge that he can't, because he did it in college. I think he wants to play every snap, and it is such a fascinating thing. And if there's one team, I think, that would be so open to a talent like that, it would be Cleveland, because they need it.
The thing that I hate the most that involves the Travis Hunter thing, it's like we throw terms around so freely. GOAT term, generational. When a generational player actually comes about, it's like, no, let's hinder him and not let him do both sides of the ball. He is a once-in-a-generational type player who wants to play both sides of the ball, and the internet GMs are going to sit here and say, no, let's keep him on one side. That's the thing that I think that aggravates me the most. Stop throwing the term generational around so much. We finally have a generational guy
Yes.
in our face. Let him do what he wants to do. And if it doesn't work, then you can alter it. But I say let him play both sides.
I agree with you. Shout out to my guy, Anthony. He put it perfectly. He texted me last week. We were talking about Travis Hunter. And I was like, yeah, it's really hard for the Browns just to pass up on a generational talent. I feel like the term gets thrown around. He's like, yeah, it gets thrown around and used on people who do things that we've seen in this generation. But when somebody is doing something we've never seen in this generation, it's not generational. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We'll talk plenty more Travis Hunter. We'll talk Jalen Milroe. We're going to get into our next segment, the patented segment of the show, Never Sunny in Berea, where we pick 3 people in the Browns building, or potentially that would be in the Browns building, and we attribute weather reports to them based on everything that's going on in their world with the Cleveland Browns. And we're going to start with a group of people this time around. The Browns offensive line. Wyatt Teller's been thrown around in trade talks. You signed Jenkins. You don't know what you're doing at the tackle spot. People are saying you need to draft a tackle in the first round. Don't get me started there. I want you to give me a weather report for the Browns offensive line right now, because it's weird.
I just think it's that cool summer 60-ish where it's like, if it's not windy, it's perfect. But then when it's windy, it's like I need a jacket on. It's just that cool summer breeze. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the coach Andrew Berry came out and said that the signing of Jenkins is not going to affect anything in terms of the offensive line status. But I still think the big question mark overall has to be that left side and the left tackle position, seeing as though Jedrick Wills is still a free agent. You don't know what you're going to do there. So there's still a couple of question marks. But that's why I think that's that breeze. Everything's cool right now, but it could get very breezy if things start to shift, with the trading back and taking a left tackle like I do not want to do.
I'll be real with you guys. I'll give my little weather report in a second here. I don't know, looking at this class, if I think there's a tackle that would be worth, like
Tristan Wirfs?
Yes, exactly. But in the draft, somebody that would be worth trading a few picks back and loading up to get, Armand Memdu is one of my favorite players in this draft. But the reality is you got 3 generational type players or really good players: Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, and then if you want to take Shedeur Sanders to be your next quarterback, he'll be up there with those guys. But I'm not convinced that those guys are, worth a top 4 pick. Like if the Patriots wanted to, let's say, leapfrog the Giants, trade with the Browns will go down to 4. I don't know if it's worth taking a tackle there.
No.
It's a weird spot. I'm glad you brought up the question marks though, because feels like Ethan Pocic, we just take him for what he is. Don't talk too much about him. The guard situations, we know Bitonio potentially is last year, on his way out regardless. Like Wyatt Teller, Andrew Berry said he expects him to be on the roster, but you signed Tevin Jenkins. The other guard, Zach Zinter. I am fascinated to see what the deal is with him, because I've heard a couple people say, just talking on Twitter, texting, things like that, that this would almost say more about the Browns' feeling about Zach Zinter potentially being a depth piece down the line, the signing of Tevin Jenkins, than it would about trading Wyatt Teller or Joel Bitonio's replacement. Because I love Zach Zinter. I think a lot of us thought he'd be a early second-round pick if he didn't rip up his leg, right? And the Browns really liked him, and he wasn't great in the preseason, but it was growing pains, his first time playing football in a year. I'm fascinated about that, too.
It seems like Andrew Berry always sets himself up to be in a two-situation scenario. He's got the one where it's the win now scenario, and then he's got something to usher in. Zach Zinter could potentially be one of those guys where he's going to be the future. Whereas Jenkins could be that guy where, guy went down, he could be our instant plug-in.
Yes.
You know what you're going to get. You don't have to worry about development or anything of that issue.
Yep.
So it just seems as if Andrew Berry's making sure that he's always checking those boxes to have every type of scenario, because let's be honest, we still don't know what we're really looking forward to until we lock down this quarterback position.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can say if we're in a win now mode or if we're in a future mode until we know who's going to be taking the snaps at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I think if I had to give a weather report, because I will very briefly, it's like the middle of a thunderstorm right now. It's not great. You don't know how it was. The past hour or whatever has been bad. The offensive line was not good last year. You've dealt with injuries. It's very uncertain. But on the other side of this, and the other side being the NFL season this year, you're going to walk out there with a group of 5 offensive linemen with a depth piece or 2 that you feel comfortable with, like the weather will get nicer after the storm. Let's move to the 2 other players for this segment that are technically not in the Browns building right now, but have met with the Browns, have talked with the Browns. Potential draft prospects. I want to start with Jalen Milroe.
Okay.
Because I am in a weird spot. I personally have loved Jalen Milroe. I watched a lot of Alabama football over the past couple of years. And I think when you watch him play, it's very clear to see that he is such a gifted athlete. But how will he fit in the Browns offense? Because I kind of look at what the Browns tried to do with Deshaun Watson, and I think there was a lot going on there outside of overall talent on the field, but they tried to mold a system to him, and it didn't work. And I think the Browns would have to do that with Jalen Milroe. They wouldn't have to do it with a guy, I think, like Shedeur Sanders or Joe Flacco or Kirk. Like, these are guys that would fit Kevin Stefanski instead of Kevin Stefanski altering to fit him. I hate to go back to the Storm analogy, but I'm going back to the Storm analogy again. Feels like it's just about the Storm with Jalen Milroe. Like, you see all the raw athleticism, you see all of this great stuff he can do on the ground, but we've seen what happens before. You know what's coming with this Storm. You can't really fit a scheme around that guy, or at least Kevin Stefanski hasn't shown that yet. So I'm in the similar Storm boat with Jalen Milroe.
You know, you mentioned Deshaun Watson and how they tried to fit the scheme towards Deshaun, and then Deshaun came out and just said he doesn't want to have to think. He just wants to go out there and react. And I think if you're trying to bring in a Jalen Milroe and have him try to read defenses and do all these things where he has to go to second and third reads, that's just not part of his game. I think the big key with Jalen Milroe is Tommy Rees. I think that tells a lot about how much of his offense he's going to implement versus Kevin Stefanski's offense. But seeing as though Kevin Stefanski's the one calling the plays, it's more so going to be a Kevin Stefanski offense. But as far as the weather report goes, I think it's just like today. It's like you see the sun, you look outside, it's like, oh, Jalen Milroe to Cleveland? Okay, I can get down with that. But then you step outside and it's like, it's just cold.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think there's much merit to it. I think it's a possibility.
Yeah.
But to sit here and say that Jalen Milroe is going to be in our quarterback room, I just think, again, it goes back to the beginning of the show. It's just that time of the year where we're bored. We need something to talk about. Jalen Milroe would be fascinating to see what he could do here with his legs. So I'm going to go just like today, sunny and 35 degrees.
I like that. I do think it's very interesting, though, because if the Browns are on the best player available train at 2, they're not going to take Shedeur Sanders. They're going to take Travis Hunter, regardless. Or Abdul Carter, one of the, not a quarterback. You're sitting at the next second-round pick, 33, I believe. Do you take a quarterback with upside like that?
Well, like I've said on past shows, you know where I stand on this. I think 33 is the pick where they're going to use that pick to trade back into the first round. I just don't know if we stay put at 33. I think 33 is an interest. I think the first round of the second round is interesting as a whole just because of how many good running backs there are. And you're starting to see the shift in the league again where it's like running back is becoming a valuable position again. They may not get paid like it, but you see how important having a running back is. And if they're going to go the Travis route at 2, and let's just say the rumors are true where Shedeur continues to fall down the ladder, they're going to trade that pick because they're going to have to jump over the Steelers who have been tied to Shedeur as well. So I think 33 is the trade piece this year. We haven't seen it a lot. I think the last time we traded back into the first round was for David Njoku, 2018 or whatever that was, 17. And it just feels like a lot of things are starting to repeat itself. So I don't think we're staying put at 33.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. We have a Q&A question about that, too, talking about the realistic probability of it. There's literally a trade that happened 3 years ago with Jameson Williams that I'll walk everybody through a little bit later. It is very, very real and very possible, but that is only if they take a non-quarterback at 2. They don't go Shedeur Sanders at 2. And if they don't, I think we're both on the same train that it would be Travis Hunter. So I'm curious, after the dinner, after the pro day, after showing up, after saying he wasn't going to work out, and working out could mean a lot of different things, but it was reported 11 a.m. before the 2:30 pro day that he wasn't going to work out, walked out there in cleats, no gloves, and ran routes for Shedeur Sanders.
Look good.
Look great. What's the weather report for Travis Hunter, potential Cleveland Brown?
It's that unexpected 75-degree day in November. It's like, where the heck did this come from? Like, we weren't talking about Travis Hunter for months, and then out of nowhere, we just get hit with this heat wave. And it's like, I had all my winter gear out. Let me just pull up the shorts for one more day. And everything is just bright in the Travis Hunter world. He's going to go in the top 4. I don't think he falls any further than that. And, I'm fine with Travis Hunter. Before I jumped fully on the Shedeur Sanders train, bro, I was like, don't even look at the quarterback. You don't pass on this type of talent. No. So it's that unexpected 80 in November weather to me.
I love that. I'm going first day of spring. I think it's another very unexpected, beautiful thing, but you're getting through all these weeds of the 20-degree days in December, the very occasional nice days in March, and then it gets back to 25 the next day. And then a couple days after that, you get this beautiful spring day. Not this day right now. It's cold out right now. But this beautiful spring day that you had to fight through all these months of bad weather. We have been fighting through the weeds of this draft prep process. Oh, it's Shador Sanders. Oh, it's 2 quarterbacks in the first round. Oh, it's Abdul Carter at 2. It's Mason Graham. It's all this stuff. Now you finally see the sunshine. I'm with you. There's no other Travis.
There's the sunshine, as you say it.
Look at that. Look at that. I'm not Mother Nature, but I'm close. There's no other Travis Hunter in this draft. Before the Tennessee Titans canceled their workout with the Colorado boys, it would not have surprised me if they went Travis Hunter at 1. There's no other Travis Hunter in this draft. There's elite edge rushers. There's other elite edge rushers not named Abdul Carter. There's other very good quarterbacks not named Shador Sanders. There is no Travis Hunter not named Travis Hunter.
And you know the beauty of Travis Hunter is it's the same kind of effect with Shador that I would say is you can't go wrong with Travis Hunter in terms of football and business.
Yes.
Jerseys will sell. The people are going to love it. Like, that's the one guy that I think all of Cleveland's collectively agreed on, that if you take Travis Hunter at 2, you'll be perfectly fine with. Whereas if you go Shador Sanders, you'll still get the hype, you'll still get all that stuff, but there is a divide within the fan base and the city of Cleveland of taking Shador or he's a 2nd or 3rd round talent.
Yeah.
So I just think, if you want to go win-win, can't lose, Travis Hunter is the guy.
Completely agree. And I think when you look back at some of the past first-round picks for the Browns, like more polarizing guys like Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, guys like that who are more bullish, more kind of in the media, in the public eye. Travis Hunter's in the public eye for the right reasons, right? This guy only cares about football. He's very outwardly said that he only cares about football. He's not the type of guy that's going to go out for stuff like that.
He's not going to be at a dinner table with blonde hair, getting drunk and playing a female.
Yes.
Like Johnny Manziel did.
Exactly. I promise you, Brown, I don't think you'd have to worry about it with any of these top picks, to be fully honest with you. I think people overdo it with Shador Sanders and stuff like that. But if there's somebody who I am so confident is not going to indulge in that stuff, it's Travis Hunter. To me, this is the best player in the draft. It's been the best player in the draft, and there's nothing that has changed that or could change that throughout the next couple weeks, has changed that throughout the past couple months. He is a one-of-one talent. There's no other Travis Hunter.
We need it, honestly.
Yes.
I think the city of Cleveland needs somebody that they can all galvanize around. Obviously, we still got question marks on Nick Chubb. He was the one that we gravitated to. Cleveland would all come together for 12 or whatever number he decides to wear. And like you said, man, this kid lives and breathes football. He wakes up, football, train, and his girlfriend that people aren't very fond of, football, sleep, football again. So when's the last time a Browns player other than Myles Garrett, I would say, lives and breathes football? Who's the guy that we can go to and be like, man, this guy is nothing but football?
I don't know.
So
I'm trying to think. I got nothing. But I am very glad you brought up Nick Chubb, because our next segment, no interview today, we told you guys, whenever we don't have an interview, we're going to come up with a unique top 5 list. Today we are ranking the top 5 moves the Cleveland Browns need to make before May 1st. So this is after the draft. This is including the draft. The top 5 moves the Browns need to make before May 1st. I know for a fact Nick Chubb is going to be on both of our lists. I think it's going to be towards the top, but I'll let you start with your number 5. What do the Browns have to do? 5th most important move before May 1st.
I would say if we're going from bottom to top, let's go draft a linebacker at 5.
Oh, okay.
I just think the insurance policy behind JOK, not knowing exactly what's going on with him, there's some linebackers in this draft that I think you can have as an insurance policy that could be effective. And not to take anything away from Devin Bush and Diabate and all those guys, because they were phenomenal last year, in my opinion. I just think you need to have somebody in the middle who you can count on and rely on to either pass rush, drop back in coverage, or whatever the case may be, just because you don't know what's going on with JOK. So I'm going to say linebacker at 5.
I like that. Jack Sawyer, maybe. Shout out the Bobby Carpenter show. Just
Hot
had him
topic
on.
here.
Hot topic here. I mean, he is a dog. Don't know where he would be. If I had to guess, middle, second, late second. I don't know if the Browns would trade back in, but probably not at 33 if I had to guess, but love Jack Sawyer. Number 5 for me, I'm also going with defense. I think people, and I've fallen victim to this, a lot of people casually overlooked the loss of Dalvin Tomlinson. He was a monster in the middle of the defense, and now he's gone. He's in Arizona. I think the Browns need to, by committee probably, plug up the run. So I think interior defensive line depth. I think that comes in the middle of the draft, the 3rd, 4th, 5th round guys, but that can't be overlooked. And when the Browns defense has been the best over the past few years, you have not been able to run on them. I know when they played the Arizona Cardinals 2 years ago, it was Hollywood Brown and 10 other guys, but the Cardinals averaged like a yard a play because they were getting tackled in the backfield every time they tried to run the football. It's impossible for an offense to operate when you have some type of 7-man box, 6-man box with a Sam coming in or some type of nickel corner like Greg Newsom's pretty good against the run. It is so hard to move the ball on that type of defense. You're always behind the chain. So if they can plug up the interior defensive line, I know they've made moves in the offseason to potentially fill Dalvin Tomlinson's shoes, but he's a big man, no pun intended.
He's more of a pass rusher.
Yeah, he can do. He is a really big talent they're going to miss, and I think they're going to have to do it by committee. A guy like Mike Hall, whenever he's fully healthy, will help too. My number 4, we talked about this rookie running back class. They got to do it, guys. They got to do it. Whether or not they bring Nick Chubb back, he is not going to get 20 touches a game, and we all love Jerome Ford. Is he a guy who will get 20 touches a game? I'm not convinced. This running back class is so
stacked,
deep. They have to pull the trigger on somebody. I doubt it's at number 2. I know there's even been fan theories because we've gotten so bored about Ashton Genty at 2.
No,
it's not going to be 2. It may not even be 33, but guys in the middle of the draft. To me, my favorite day 2 guy is Caleb Johnson out of Iowa.
Okay.
I love the Ohio State guys, love Quinshon Judkins, love Travion Henderson, but I love Caleb Johnson. That's a guy who can stick his foot in the ground and just go. You remember DeMarco Murray in Dallas?
Oh, yeah.
Reminds me so much of DeMarco Murray. The exact same size, run the exact same way. I love Caleb Johnson. That's a guy I really like, but they have to bring in a rookie running back, and I don't think they're going to miss that opportunity. It's just a matter of when in the draft.
I think they're definitely going to take a running back too as well. That's kind of higher up on my list.
Okay.
But so at 4, I think we'll go. If you don't draft Shedeur Sanders, there's a lot of variables to this one.
Okay.
It's the receiver position. Now, where do you go with the receiver position? I'm going to go a little off the rails here. I'm going to go with something that's probably not going to happen. But I think back to when he said, hey, I told Cleveland, come get me, and they didn't, and I ended up in Miami.
I know exactly where you're going.
If they don't go Shedeur Sanders, you re-sign Joe Flacco, or you take Kirk Cousins, and you go ahead and trade for Tyreek Hill.
Seems like he wants out, so.
Every other tweet is him throwing up the deuces, so it's like he definitely wants out. Now, obviously, that's something that's, far down the pipeline that's not going to happen, but if you can find a way to get Tyreek Hill, that elevates your offense to a whole different level. We're talking about Tyreek Hill, Travis Hunter potentially, David Njoku. I mean, whatever running back you decide to go with, that offense will be potent. But on the more realistic side, we mentioned it on the past show. If you take Joe Flacco, maybe you make amends with Amari Cooper. You bring him back. You bring that band back together. And then the guy that you've been so high on, Elijah Moore, another guy that you can bring back. But I think the one guy that no one's really talking about who's been serviceable and who's been proven to be a guy that doesn't need to be number 1, who doesn't need the targets, Tyler Boyd's still out there. So if you can bring in a guy like Tyler Boyd, familiar with the AFC North, I mean, he's a perfect guy that just can fit in and be like, he doesn't need to be your number 1. He's not going to demand targets. I would love a Tyler Boyd signing. So give me that receiver position at 4.
That's a great call. I have receiver on my list even higher than that, but where I'm going to go with that is they need somebody on the inside. I love Jamari Thrash, but we can't sit here from what we've seen the past year and be like, yep, he is our slot receiver and we're comfortable. You don't know, right? Who's your number 3?
Number 3, I think we are going to go... Am I missing something? Number 3, I think we're going to go... do I want to put this one up higher? I've kind of switched this around a little bit.
Okay.
Let's go the running back room. Okay. I think you got to sign back Nick Chubb.
Oh,
I had that as my number 1, but just looking at it, it's like knowing that they're probably going to go running back in the draft. It just, if you go running back in the draft, you're probably not signing back Nick Chubb. That's just my gut feeling. So if they sign Nick Chubb, that gives me confidence that they're comfortable with Jerome Ford, and it lets you know that if they do go running back, it'd probably be a 5th, 6th round, and they probably replaces Pierre Strong if I had to guess. But I definitely think you need to figure out what you're going to do at the running back position, because I love me some Jerome Ford. I'm one of the biggest Jerome Ford fans that there are in Cleveland. But you're going to have to add another guy just because you know how they like to go by committee with Kevin Stefanski's offense.
Absolutely. And I honestly think, and I'll talk about Nick Chubb later, I think there is a world where they draft a running back and they bring Nick Chubb in. But, I mean, if anybody's making these lists and he's not in your top 5 or even your top 3, I don't know what to tell you. We got 2-ish weeks until Browns start reporting for workouts. If Nick Chubb is there, it's going to uplift that room like you wouldn't believe. My number 3, and I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders, I'm not saying Jalen Milroe. You need another quarterback. They're going to draft a rookie quarterback. Regardless of who, they're going to draft a rookie quarterback, right?
Tyler Shaw?
You need another quarterback for the love of God. Like, we need some depth, whether it's Joe Flacco, Kirk Cousins. I honestly think it's going to be Cousins. We're just kind of waiting this out to see who the Browns draft, all this stuff. I think it's going to be Cousins. But, like, you need another quarterback. I know last episode we talked about the possibility of Kenny Pickett being the veteran presence in the room with 2 rookies, which I wouldn't hate, but I'd much prefer the other route where it's a true vet, a 30-plus-year-old vet who's been there, won big games, Kenny Pickett, and then whatever rookie quarterback you want to go. But they need to get another quarterback. My number 2, they need to get another wideout. Oh, I don't know if we're casually overlooking this, if we're turning a blind. Guys, the Browns have, like, no receivers on their roster.
Cedric Tillman was injured for the bottom half of the year. What's going on with him?
No idea.
And I love Cedric.
Not signing Elijah Moore back. I honestly think Elijah Moore's price tag is a little too high for the Browns, which I can't blame him. He's 25. Like, I get it. You got Jamari Thrash. You got Jerry Jeudy. You got Cedric Tillman. Just signed DeAndre Carter.
Who's a special teams guy.
Special teams guy, yeah. But, like, regardless if there's anybody else or not, like, you are telling your fan base right now as the Browns, we're going to draft a receiver, guys. They're going to draft one, but it can't just be in the draft. Like you said, there's Tyler Boyd out there. Keenan Allen is technically still out there. I'm a fan of the bigger slot. It's a bigger slot. They got to get somebody on the inside. What's most important for me in that world, at least as I look at the Browns, is finding guys who are going to buy eyes of the defense, guys who are going to be able to motion, to buy eyes in a jet sweep, a jet touch pass, things like that. Quicker guys, and I think Keenan Allen wouldn't necessarily give you that, but a guy like Tyler Boyd would. If Jamari Thrash, they feel like, can make that jump, so be it, but you need some depth behind him. I don't know if DeAndre Carter can do it. And we saw last year this revolving door of inside guys. You had Kadarius Toney out there. You had so many different guys who tried to play that role of buying eyes, being the motion guy, and nothing ever worked. Like, you got to find somebody. And you know what? Maybe it's Jerry Jeudy, and we're going to draft another outside guy or get another outside guy, but you need to solidify that slot wide receiver position. What's your number 2? I'm fascinated because you had Nick Chubb at 3.
My number 2, I'm going back to something that we talked about on the previous episode. We got to do something at the safety position.
Ooh, it's a good one.
You know what I mean? Whether it be a veteran, there's still Justin Simmons out there. There's Jordan Poyer out there. Marcus Williams, a former Raven. Bring in a veteran and also attack the draft with it. There's some safeties in this draft. You mentioned the one guy. Where's he? South Carolina?
Nicky Manwari.
That guy's a freak. And you talk about the pick at 33 could potentially be in place.
I think he's gone before then, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So maybe, or, we've seen them trade up before and take Grant Delpit, or, you know what I mean? I don't think they traded up for Grant Delpit, but they took Grant Delpit early in the draft. So safety could be one of those positions this year where they're looking at us like, hey, we had this guy as a first-round grade. He fell into the second round. Maybe that's the slot that they're looking for. I think this is the draft where Andrew Berry's looking to see, since there's probably a lot of first-round grades that they probably have on their board, which of those guys are going to fall? And I think that will dictate if they decide to move up or stay put or trade back or however that may go. So I'm going to go safety just for the simple fact that Grant Delpit is the only guy there. You're going to put a lot of faith in Ronnie Hickman, who's shown flashes, but if that's the only other guy that you're running in there with,
you need some depth.
You need some depth there. So give me safety at 2.
All right, so number 1 is a quarterback?
Of course. Yeah, if you don't sign a veteran, see, I think the one thing that comes with the Browns, and what they've done over the past few years, the veteran has been so important for what they have done, regardless of if it's led to wins or not. 2 years ago, Joe Flacco came in and saved the day. When Deshaun Watson went down, guess who came in and saved the day? Jameis Winston. So you have to have a guy. Kenny Pickett's not going to thrill fans and be like, he's coming in to save the day. So you need a quarterback, whether it be a name or someone who actually has the talent, to come in and, if things go wrong, give you that sense of Cleveland hope that we all grasp on. So quarterback is obviously my number 1.
I love it. I honestly think it'd be higher on my list if I was less okay with the world where it's like Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, Will Howard, or Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, Riley Leonard. Like, I think there's a world that exists. We acknowledged it. Like, it could happen. My number 1, though, I ask a question to everybody. What good is the talent on your roster if your locker room culture isn't there? I think that locker room culture would be in disarray, at least for a period of time, if they did not sign Nick Chubb. Like, this is a guy who other players have reposted things on their story saying, sign Nick Chubb. This is a guy who battled back from an utterly ridiculous knee injury a year ago. It took more than a year to get him back. They have to bring this guy back. And it doesn't have to be a workhorse role. I think we can all agree, even as Browns fans, like, that ship has sailed. But it's a guy who can still do the dirty work. It's a guy you need in the locker room. And I will tell you this, if they don't sign him, and it comes out that he took, I guess, less money to go elsewhere, or the Browns weren't there financially with him, that building is gonna it is gonna erupt. Like,
if I see 1 year, $3 million for Nick Chubb, like, you couldn't find $3 million to give to a player who's openly wanting to be here and end his career here. Not only verbally said it, wrote a letter saying it. Like, oh man, that would. There was already people saying that they wanted to leave when Myles Garrett wasn't going to sign back. There are people that will stop being fans if they do not bring back Nick Chubb. That's a fact.
Yes, absolutely. I could not agree more. So that's our top 5 list of the moves the Browns need to make before May 1st. I said before May 1st because I wanted to include the draft. And as we get into our Q&A mailbag segment around the land, which, if you guys are not following the socials, we take a question or two from each social. That's Twitter, that's TikTok, that's Instagram, that's YouTube. Put them in, answer them. So make sure you're following on all of those if you're not already. It's at Honor the Land. Same handle as it is on here, on every single platform. But I want to go back to the draft because we talked about it very briefly at the top. Travis Hunter being the number 2 pick and then potentially trading back in for Shedeur Sanders. We got a question from No Limit Eli 16 on Instagram. What's the possibility of us drafting both Travis Hunter and Shedeur, and how do we do it? What do you think? If I asked you scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you the Browns could pull that off? What would you say?
I would say like a 3-4. I had 40%. Do I think it's unlikely? Yes, but I think there's a shot. I think this is a draft, this is a year where the Browns have to be overly aggressive in success.
Yeah.
They have to do everything that they can to show that they're trying to succeed. You've seen that with the moves. You hear it with Haslam saying that you have to hit on the 2nd overall pick. I think there's a lot of pressure to get the 2nd overall pick right, and especially with all of the smoke, which is why I think all of this stuff is fluff. It's almost like they're intentionally trying to get Shedeur Sanders to fall in the draft to potentially make that move.
Yeah.
And you ask how you do it, I'm telling you, that 33rd pick is going to be the key piece here. Draft day will be so interesting this year because after the 2nd pick goes, I'm just going to be looking to see that trade thing come up to be like, oh, Browns trade up to 12 or 13 or whatever the case may be, and they'd use it. So I would say about a 3 or 4 of the possibility of it happen. I think if they take Travis Hunter at 2, I think that goes up to maybe a 5 or 6.
I like that.
As it stands right now, I'm still Team Shedeur. I still think you need yourself a quarterback, and I'm hoping they still take him at 2.
I like that. I think the fact that the train has shifted a little bit towards Travis Hunter over Shedeur Sanders makes me more confident in it. And I think if you were able to get both of them, it would have a profound impact on your team's culture, as well as just the overall talent. I would say before I did a little research, I was at like a 10 to 15% or 1 to 1.5 out of 10. But I did a little research, and I tried to find the biggest jump in recent history. And it technically wasn't 2nd round into 1st round, but it was pick 32, the last pick of the 1st round, up to number 12. It was the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. The Detroit Lions traded 32, 34, and 66 for 12 and 46. They wound up taking Jamison Williams there.
You know who was the catalyst of that too?
Who?
Former GM John Dorsey.
So
maybe they could take a page out of his book.
You never know. All I know is when I saw that, when I knew how real it was, and I understand where the Browns are at in terms of the resources they have, it jumped up to, honestly, probably pretty similar, like 30, 40% chance that I believe it could happen. They would have to take Hunter at 2, and I think that's the real key here. But I do think it's real. But I know we have been not throwing pick 33 to the side, but have kind of said this is our trade piece. If they don't trade 33, where do they go? We have another question from MPAC333 on Instagram. Your favorite picks, assuming they keep pick 33, your favorite picks at 33 and 67.
Running back and receiver.
Okay.
I've seen people talk about where it's like just, I think it was Nathan Zagura actually saying that the first half of this draft needs to be all dedicated to the offense.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't agree more. I'm a huge fan of Amarian Hampton. I don't know what it is about that guy out of North Carolina, but I'm also a fan of the Ohio State guys.
Yeah.
As long as you're taking somebody that can be of use this year and not one of those guys where it's like, oh, he's got the potential. He's kind of a project guy. I'm done with the project stuff.
Yeah.
I'm done with the high potential thing. Give me somebody that can come in here and contribute now. So I think at pick 33, it's probably closer to, depending on where they have these running backs graded, it could be running back, but that also doesn't feel like an Andrew Berry move.
Yeah.
It could be safety. It
Ooh,
very
safety
well
would
could
be interesting.
safety.
Safety would be interesting. I think Omarion Hampton's so fascinating, and if he falls to 33, I think you have to pull the trigger. But I don't think he's going to. Like, I think
he's a first
that
round
good.
guy.
Yeah, and I think the projection actually right now for his pick is 21. So like that says middle to late first round.
So that could maybe be the guy, like I mentioned earlier. Who's the first round draft guys that were projected to be first round guys that fall? That could maybe be one of them.
Yes, absolutely. And I think 33 again. If you're gonna go running back, I think Cam Scadabo's a guy who's very interesting. He can do more of the dirty work, and Jerome Ford can be that third down guy. I mean, I love Caleb Johnson. Like Caleb Johnson, I can't say enough good things about him. What he can do, especially in the zone scheme runs the Browns have been running for so long. What works so well, and that's the Stefanski offense, and has worked so well. If they lean into that, Caleb Johnson is the guy. 67 is fascinating, though, because I think if they pass on a running back with the first couple picks, there are a couple guys that could be there. I think Damian Martinez out of the U is another really, really interesting one. You can reunite him with David Njoku. We do have to move through these questions very quick, so I will ask you point blank period from J Bar on Instagram. It's the night before the season opener. Who are the 3 players in the quarterback room? Point blank, 3 players. Give it to me.
All right, if they go Shador at 2, Shador, Flacco, Pickett. If they don't go Shador, Cousins, Pickett, and either Milroe, Howard, or Tyler Shaw.
Ooh, okay. Okay, well, Pickett, obviously. I'm going Kenny Pickett. You guys know Kirk Cousins. I'm on the Riley Leonard train. I think they take Riley Leonard. Last question, and this is a good one. This is from Danny Corrigan21 on Instagram. What is your favorite Browns game of all time? It could be one you've gone to or just one that you've watched.
I've got 3. I was kind of having a tough time because the obvious one is obviously going to be the Steelers 2020. I have a video of that. That was actually what kick-started Chef Zay, was that video. It went viral. The second one I have to go, I'm going to go on recent and then one in the past. The recent one, the Ravens comeback game. The Deshaun Watson game where it was like, this is it. This is the Deshaun Watson we paid $230 million for. 14-point deficit. We come back, goes perfect in the second half. We pull off a win in Baltimore. That game was iconic.
Yes.
But I'm going to go back to when I was a child.
Okay.
People ask me, who are your favorite players? I grew up loving Michael Vick and Tim Couch. Those were my 2 guys.
Those are good.
So in the same season, this guy, Tim Couch, threw a Hail Mary. First week happened against the New Orleans Saints. The second one kept us in playoff contention. Hail Mary, we're down for 2016. At the 50-yard line, Tim Couch steps up and throws a absolute bomb to Quincy Morgan. He catches it. It goes to replay for like 5-10 minutes. They come back, call stands, kick the field goal upright, and we're still in playoff contention. Obviously, we go to the playoffs that year. We lose to the Steelers in the first round. But that game lives forever in my head.
I love that. I'm going to go past and recent, I guess, too. Growing up in New England, I hated the Patriots. That Peyton Hillis game against the Patriots is ingrained in my memory.
That's a good one.
I loved every second of that.
3 touchdowns, right? Wasn't it a 3 touchdown game?
Yes, it was 3. And then more recently, I was at this game, so maybe there's like a little bit of bias involved, but the P.J. Walker Niners game 2 years ago. That was like rainy, disgusting. The Niners walked in undefeated. People forget this was this juggernaut. And granted, Debo went down, CMC picked up an injury, Trent, it was a banged up team.
But wasn't that the game where the 49ers were actually taunting us on the sideline and they got into a little scuffle?
Yep, pregame, and then you had all the stuff. Like, I think it was like 3... Oh, no, that was the Ravens game. But Deshaun Watson was ruled out like a day before the game. And it was like, all right, well, now we got to go to P.J. Walker, I guess. But those are my 2. Before we close up here, I do want to give a quick shout-out to Kaulig Companies for sponsoring this entire event, calling all sports fans and golf lovers. Get ready to tee off on a fan experience like none other at the Kaulig Companies Championship, June 18th through 22nd at Firestone Country Club. Watch PGA champions as they face off in the legendary South Course, then head into the Kaulig Infinity Zone for live music featuring Folds of Honor Friday on June 20th with a special military appreciation concert and performances by country artist Connor Smith and the Shootouts. The Kaulig Infinity Zone offers happy hour drink specials, food trucks, a cigar lounge, and hands-on interactive fan experiences. Visit CauligChampionship.com for tickets today. Zay, we are here because of Kaulig Companies outside of Progressive Field. Before the home opener, Guards did not start strong, but I'm going to ask you 2 hot takes or your breakout player for this season before we wrap up here.
I mean, I think I seen something before the season started where they only had the Guards winning like 78 games or something.
Yeah.
They're going to soar over that.
Ooh, okay.
And give me Jose Ramirez MVP. He wants the 40-40 ball. He's super confident. Now, Manzardo going crazy.
Yeah.
Manzardo's going crazy, but I'm going to go Jose for MVP.
I like that. I think it's tough because I am looking at this year and the moves the Guards made this offseason and the year they had last year. Like, the law of averages says you got to come back down. But the thing, what I'm on all year long, so a lot of you guys know this if you follow me on my socials, my hometown team, the Boston Red Sox, and the Cleveland Guardians, each to win 80-plus this year. I like that a lot. I think they're going to do that. They play each other in, I believe, 2 weeks, so hopefully split them evenly or something. I don't know the math behind that, but I like that a lot. But truthfully, today, opening day, you said it, Kyle Manzardo, I am on him to hit a home run, as well as Jose Ramirez. I don't know if they can win the AL Central. I'm going to say they do. I trust that they will make the playoffs this year, though.
Rise the flags, baby.
Let's do it. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday. See you next time on On the Land, presented by Big Play Sports Network.